Daniel Ramamoorthy has made a name for himself as Europe's leading event moderator, MC, and keynote speaker. Known for his remarkable ability to transform events into memorable experiences, Daniel's unique career path stretches from his entrepreneurial beginnings to hosting prominent global events across 4 continents. His mantra, "Start now, start simple," serves as a guiding principle not only for his professional endeavors but also for his individual methods. From introducing the stage of world leaders and celebrities to making meaningful contributions during global crises, Daniel Ramamoorthy has proven time and again that small actions can lead to extraordinary results. What drove me to transition from startup ventures to being a sought-after MC and keynote speaker? Starting in the entrepreneurial world prepared me in ways I didn't initially recognize. For over 8 years, I was deeply involved in startups, facing challenges, failures, and moments of success that built my resilience, adaptability, and communication skills. I discovered I had a knack for storytelling and translating complex ideas in a way that energized people, whether it was a meeting of 5 or a conference of 5,000. Gradually, I found myself not just speaking at events, but being asked to moderate them. That's when I realized, while many of these are strong speakers, you have someone who could hire also hold space, keep energy high, and guide meaningful conversations. I could do that, and more importantly, I loved doing it. Funny enough, it all started with spam. It was during the global recession. I was broke and desperate, doing a figure on one of the side stages at an event in Ireland. After I spoke, the German woman handed me her business card and said, "I'd like you to MC my event in Germany." I was surprised but intrigued. That same evening, she called to confirm the booking. That became my first paid MC gig. While I was at that event in Germany, a man approached me and asked if I'd consider MCing another upcoming event. I didn't catch his name, didn't get his card, and honestly, didn't think much of it. A few days later, desperate for leads, I was scrolling through my spam messages on Facebook, and one message caught my eye. It looked like junk, someone claiming Richard Branson was coming to town and they needed an MC. I almost deleted it. But something about it rang a bell. It was the same person I had met in Germany. It wasn't spam. It was real. And I said yes. That event? It launched the global chapter of my MC career. It wasn't a grand plan. It was one yes at a time. Your motto, "Start now, start simple," has inspired countless individuals. Can you share a defining moment that solidified this mantra as your guiding principle? The mantra was born during the time of uncertainty. When I moved to Ireland in the middle of the global financial crisis, I had no safety net. I didn't have time to wait for perfect plans or funding rounds. I had to move. Pretending to be an investor turned out to be a defining moment. I was unemployed, applying for jobs, hearing no repeatedly, when friends jokingly called a talk for his company staff, which led to an article on public speaking, which somehow made it to a real revenue being investor. That investor later invited me to corporate National Entrepreneurship Policy. I had no formal setup, no company, no pitch deck, no website, just the willingness to show up. That single moment kicked off a ripple effect that changed my life. Not because it was polished, but because it was real. That experience taught me that clarity doesn't come from planning, it comes from doing. From saying yes. Later, during the pandemic, I launched a virtual wellness series with nothing more than a webcam and a message. No studio, no major promo. That project reached thousands across the globe. So whether it's been launching a startup, a speaking career, or even pursuing a PhD, none of it started with perfection. It started with momentum. 3. How has your multicultural upbringing across 11 countries informed your approach to connecting with diverse audiences, fostering meaningful conversations? As the son of a diplomat, growing up in countries as diverse as Zimbabwe and France taught me that the most powerful connection doesn't rely on shared language or customs. It stems from shared humanity. That upbringing shaped my belief in listening before speaking and learning before leading. These experiences shaped my ability to empathize and adapt, which I've carried into every stage of my career. Once, I was moderating a summit in Eastern Europe with delegates from over 40 countries. I knew cultural references or jokes wouldn't land equally, so I spoke to common emotions, like the fear of starting something new or the awkwardness of small talk, which everyone was able to relate to. That's what real connection looks like. This cross-cultural perspective fed into academic work as well. My PhD focused on adaptability and leadership working in my life experience and adapting to new. 4. How do you rebuild your perspective as a fourth-culture individual during high-stakes meetings or while moderating challenging discussions? Being a fourth-culture individual means I don't feel confined to anyone through cultural framework, and that's a huge strength. It allows me to adapt quickly in any environment, whether I'm hosting a startup event or moderating a panel of world leaders. For example, I once moderated a global tech forum with stakeholders from vastly different cultural backgrounds, discussing controversial topics, ethical AI. When the debate became heated, I guided the discussion by reframing the conversation on a shared principle protecting human dignity. My role wasn't just to facilitate, it was to create an environment where different views felt respected and heard. Even logistically, I've had to manage high-stakes chaos. At an event in Germany, I had 60 seconds to introduce my next guest, Jessica Abba. Behind the scenes, things were falling apart. In my ear, I heard the team say she might not even come on stage. I had to entertain 5,000 people while appearing completely calm and in control, giving the organizers time to sort out the issue. While I was entertaining the audience, my belt snapped. With it, 4 bottle caps, mics, earpieces, etc. hit the ground. But I didn't panic. I continued the interactive game with the crowd, ran into the audience, cracked jokes. I kept the energy up until Jessica was ready. Later, the audience commented commented on how snapping myself about the last part of the show. That's the power of adaptability and trust. It's about holding space with grace, even when things fall apart, quickly. 5. You've worked with startups, governments, world leaders, and community-driven projects. How do you tailor your style and messaging to resonate with such diverse audiences? Whether speaking to a parliament or hosting a tech conference, the work always starts with preparation. I make it a point to research the audience, the event's purpose, and the pain points they are addressing. There's no one-size-fits-all approach. For a startup event, I might use humor, dynamic energy, and personal anecdotes to inspire action. At a government-level discussion, I balance curiosity with respect, asking strategic questions to keep the conversation impactful but diplomatic. Once, while moderating a government innovation summit in Europe, I adopted a more restrained tone and focus on asking catalytic questions rather than delivering motivational content. The goal wasn't to entertain, it was to challenge. In another event in Germany, I kicked off the opening session with a push-up competition on stage with Chris Barton, the founder of Design. The through line in all of it is presence, preparation, and empathy. My focus is always on making sure the audience feels seen, valued, and connected to the event's goals. 6. What advice would you give to individuals aiming to carve out unique and unconventional careers like yours? First, drop the idea that you need a perfect roadmap. Unconventional careers often unfold in ways you can't predict, so taking an iterative approach is key. I once agreed to host a major innovation conference with just 48 hours notice. I could have said no, but I said yes. That gig led to 5 others, each opportunity leading to another. Second, show up with authenticity. People are drawn to those who aren't afraid to be themselves. Whether you're building a business, moderating an event, or starting something entirely new, that authenticity will set you apart. I leaned into my quirks, my multi-accented voice, my animated energy, my obsession with making people feel seen, and it turned out to be exactly what the industry needed. Invest in relationships. Success often comes down to the people you meet along the way. Most of my career has been built not through online applications, but through trust, service, and authority. Opportunities come when you serve first. Even my PhD came from planning youth committee university events during the pandemic. I connected with the students, and the professor saw something in me. He said, "You don't need this for your career, but maybe for your soul." And he was right. 7. How do you balance your professional endeavors with impactful charitable work, and why is giving back such a central part of your mission? To me, giving back isn't optional. It's who I am. Growing up in Africa and in a faith-driven home, I was taught early that generosity isn't about abundance, it's about heart. I grew up in a loving, welcoming home where hospitality and generosity were practiced. My parents gave generously, food, shelter, and time. That shaped my worldview. Now, whether I'm raising funds on stage during a humanitarian crisis or quietly volunteering on the ground, service is integrated into my lifestyle. Poland, I learned of grassroots groups aiding Ukrainian refugees. I used my platform to amplify their work. Sometimes I donate anonymously, other times I speak publicly, but the goal is always the same: leave the place better than I found it. Being on global stages comes with influence. I don't take that lightly. My work gives me access to the rooms where decisions are made. And I make sure voices that aren't in those rooms are still represented.